The number one question I get asked by prospective land investors is how much do I need to budget per month? This is a really smart question. What costs should you plan for when you first start out as a land investor? How do these costs change when you become a more seasoned land investor? Today on the Land.MBA podcast, Dave and I are going to go deep on land investing business costs.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of the Land.MBA podcast. I'm David Van Steenkist along with my co-host Howard Zonder, and we are here talking about the cost of doing a land investing business, both for starting out and once you've reached your steady state. How's it going today, Howard?
It is going fantabulous. It is November 5th. It is 60 degrees and sunny, and no matter what mayhem is going around on the country right now, we're living the dream here in Connecticut.
Yeah, we've got some nice warm weather here out in Colorado too. It was 73 degrees. I was working in my house all day, and I decided to, go out and do some things. And had jeans on and a jacket, and I walked out. I'm like, holy moly, it feels like California.
Exactly. Well, we got to get right into this because I got to get outside and get the leaves off my lawn.
Oh, poor soul.
In the sky.
Very good. So why don't I share my screen and we'll talk about the cost breakdown for doing a land business for our YouTube watchers. There we go. Can you see it?
I see it.
All right. So for those of you who are just venturing into or thinking about venturing into the game of land investing, what we did was we put a very basic chart together on some of the costs that you'll need to incur when starting out, and then where your business will get to when you start to get into a steady state of deal flow. And certainly it can go well beyond that but if you're doing lots of deals, in proportionate, it's a very, very small operating overhead. You want to speak to these, Howard?
Yeah, I think, just looking at the high level numbers here, I'm going to give you the punchline at the beginning. So when you're first starting out, you could probably get into this business for anywhere. Well, you may not even choose to use all of these line items. So I'm putting about $756 per month in operational costs, but that includes some VAs, it includes some CRM, it includes some things that you may or may not want to do at the beginning. When you're first starting out, you may say, I'm just going to do this on a spreadsheet and I'm not going to use VAs, I'm going to do it myself. You can actually get those costs even lower. And think about that for a second. Imagine any other business that you're going to start from the ground up, and you can actually be in that business functioning, getting out there, marketing, buying and selling for operational costs of $750 or less. Hard pressed, Dave, to come up with any other business that can deliver that.
Right. To your point, you could remove CRM, you could remove LLC, because there's not really a requirement to have an LLC. It's something you want to do, a little bit later on. And that I also want to put something in there in that line item LLC. We were talking about that earlier, because that's, there's a one-time expense and then there's an annual expense. So we've just broken it down to monthly. And it's going to depend a lot on the state that you set up your LLC in. But there's not really a huge risk with land to take them down in your own name when you're just dipping your toes in the water. You want to get 2, 3, 4, 5 deals. And again, what Howard said about the VAs, you could remove that as well. So you really could break that down to mailing cost and data, which is about what, $424 a month. But that mailing cost, that's marketing. So you're going to get some ROI on that. So
Right.
a huge ROI on that. And so I think we've basically covered the basics.
We need to talk to it for the people who are listening and not looking. So basically what we've done here is we broke it up into three groups. We've got sort of your overhead costs at the top. We've got operational costs, and then we've got sales and marketing costs. So in the overhead costs, we have things like systems. So that would be CRM, electronic signing, document signing, note management, accounting software, setting up and managing your LLC. If you want to have a data source, so a permanent access to the data source for both research as well as records, that could be a regular monthly cost. A mailbox, whether you're using the UPS store or whether you're using a traveling mailbox, that might be a cost. Phone, if you want to use a phone system. Loom, a lot of these things you can even get free versions of. Loom you can get a free version of. For those of you who don't know, Loom is a really wonderful program you can put on your computer and allows you to capture whatever you're doing on your screen, and you can even put your face as an overlay on there and talk to it while you're doing, which is absolutely phenomenally essential.
Yeah.
Working with your VAs to train them on what it is you need them to do. And of all of those, the things that you really need to have, must have when you're starting out in this business, would be none of them. I mean, you could actually start this business with none of them, which is crazy. So you could, you could start if you wanted to. I don't recommend it, but you could start with just doing this on a spreadsheet. Hopefully you'll have a little success, and it won't take very much before you'll say, God, it would be really nice to have systems to manage this. But when you're first starting out, you can manage it on spreadsheets and Post-it notes.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Huh?
And you absolutely can. And so that's, the very beginning starting, and then, get the mail out. And then once you start getting some deals in, okay, I got 3, 4, 5 deals. I'm going to manage them. Okay. Now I see why I might need a CRM now. And I might start to need the help of a VA, but now you've got 5 deals in the pipe that you're going to make a few grand on each. So you can justify those expenses now. What I think is really hard for people that are just starting out and they don't have faith yet, they don't have confidence yet that they're going to get deals and make money, is locking down on these kind of expenses. And so, the good news is Howard's exactly right. You could take almost all of this expense out and wait till you get 1 or 2 or 3 months when you've got a few deals in the pipe. So we still consider that starting out. So then you get to the starting out phase of maybe up to $756 a month, and then you grow from there.
So here's the interesting thing, and just to kind of put some of these numbers in perspective. Yeah, you could start out without the CRM, but if you're going to do that, you're probably going to end up paying between 82 cents and $1 per letter going out, unless you send huge batches all at once, which is not necessarily the best thing to do. So if I just kind of run the numbers here, I'm going to do 82 cents times 600 letters. So that would put a mailing cost at $492. What we've put for a mailing cost is $324, which is based on 54 cents a record, which is what you'd be paying, say, with land speed. So for the base land speed package, you'd pay $139 for all of that capability, and then you get 54 cents. So you'd save you'd save more money actually having the CRM and paying the lower mailing cost than you would not having a CRM and paying the higher mail cost. So those are just some of the trade-offs that you might want to look at when you're first starting out. But regardless, mailing, of course, is the foundation of the business. So you've got to plan for that. And typically mailing will be your largest monthly expense. LLC, Dave, I think I went 6 months in this business before I formed an LLC.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who've done that. I've had, you know, one of my most successful students, one of our most successful students, he went, yeah, probably 6, 9 months without an LLC and did a couple of $100,000 in deals. So,
I mean, that's a serious business. But honestly, a single member LLC from an accounting perspective is really no different than just doing it on your own name. It just provides a little bit of separation in the naming conventions. I would say, and this is really important. If you decide to put off the LLC and just do it in your own name, there's nothing wrong with that. I would 100% recommend getting a PO box or a box at the UPS store or a travel mailbox or something. You do not want to be putting your personal home address on all these letters that you're sending out. These lowball offers that might piss somebody off, and they might actually want to let you know about it. It's one thing to call you and say, I think you're a jerk. It's another thing where they know your address. So you want to obfuscate your address, even if you're using your personal name.
yeah, absolutely. And the key point to that as well is that, I would recommend using something like a traveling mailbox, which for those of you who don't know, that's basically a virtual mailbox where your return mail goes to this warehouse and they scan the outside of it for you and email you. Oh, you got mail. You can look at it. You can tell them, no, that's junk, shred it, recycle it, or, oh, okay, please open that and rescan it because it could be a signed deal. And then you can just download it. The nice thing about that is it can be permanent. If you use an address, let's say it's physical, it's a UPS store, and you live in Broomfield, Colorado, where I live, and now I moved to Arizona. Well, it's more difficult to manage because I love these physical or these virtual mailboxes, and here's why you want a permanent one is because you don't want to keep paying for forwarding costs all the time if you move. And I've gotten signed deals back 2 years after a mailer, and so if you get one deal a year, it's easily going to pay for itself.
Yeah, it's not that much. If you're pretty confident you're not going to move, it's fine. I actually still use a PO box at the post office, and the post office has something called informed delivery, and with informed delivery, it's the same thing. So I get an email every time mail comes into my mailbox. I get an email with a scan of the envelope. They don't open it for me, but that's fine. If I wanted to, skip trace and correct the address and resend because I'm sending first class mail, if I'm doing that, I don't even have to go to my PO box because I see the scan with the little yellow sticker on it. I see exactly who it is. I go into the CRM, I indicate bad address, and I'm done. Once a week, if I want to do that, then once a week my VA will go in there and he'll just pull up all the bad address ones and skip trace them. So all that happens without me even going to the post office to pick up my mail. But I can certainly see everything that's coming in just the way you can with a virtual mailbox. But Dave does make a very good point that if you think that there's even a possibility of you moving, it would be nice to do that because you can have the same address no matter where you live.
Yep.
Good point. All right, what else is in here? Electronic signing. So that would be you're sending out a contract for, let's just say, for a owner finance deal. You can send it to them electronically. They can sign it electronically and send it right back to you with their signature on it. That is more valuable when you're selling properties, although there is a scenario where it's valuable on the acquisition side also. So you send out all of your mail. Let's just say let's say you're sending out neutral offers. We're going to start with neutral. So it just says, hey, my name's Howard. I'm looking to buy land in your area. Let me know if you're interested. Somebody comes back. They say they're interested. You get them on the phone. You do your haggling. You come up with some kind of a price. Now you follow up with a purchase agreement. So you send that purchase agreement out. You may want to send that purchase agreement out with electronic signature so they can just sign it electronically and get it back to you faster. way better than sending it out through the snail mail. Same thing, if you send out a blind offer and let's say you offer them $750 for their property, they call you back and they say, I would like to sell my property, but I'm not selling it for $750. I'll sell it to you for $1250. And let's just say you agree to that. Then you want to send out a revised purchase agreement reflecting what you just agreed to. Again, you can do that with an electronic signature. So electronic signing is good to have. It's not very expensive. We use Sign Now with LandSpeed, and you could do that for $8 a month. Probably not something you need to worry about when you're first starting out, so that we zeroed that out. But when you start getting monthly deals and you're really steady state in the business, what's $8 a month? That's fine.
Exactly. And then you get your note management. If you get to a point where you've got a handful or more of seller finance deals, gets really kind of old to track them on a spreadsheet. You could use your accounting software and set up automated invoices for your clients, but I really like some of the note management softwares that are out there because they basically do the whole thing. It's an automatic ACH withdrawal, and it keeps track of the whole amortization table and everything. It automatically sends your late emails and default emails and things like that. So that's a nice luxury to have. And you're looking at around $60 a month, 60 to 100, depending on the package. But most of us charge a note service fee. I know I recently raised mine to $25 a month. It was 20. So very easy. Once you have a handful of those, it pays for it. Yeah.
Although I have to say, I've used a few different things here. I'm coming to really like using QuickBooks for this because when I set up a new deal for owner financing, one of the first things that's going to happen is I'm going to create an entry for that deal in my chart of accounts in my accounting software. So when I bill that through QuickBooks, it just automatically updates the accounting software. It's very clean. Now, with QuickBooks, you could set it up for both credit cards and ACH directly through QuickBooks, which is really convenient. The only thing that's not perfect, well, there's two things that aren't perfect about that solution. One is you're not necessarily getting the amortization schedule constantly updated based upon missed payments or late fees and things like that, which a note management situation would do. And the other one is that it doesn't automatically withdraw the funds from your customer's account. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to invoice them and they have to pay you. You can pull it out of their account, but it does have to be, at least for now, it does have to happen manually. So if you have a bookkeeper, the bookkeeper can manage both of those things for you. They can manage the amortization schedule and they can manage hitting the button and pulling the money out every month. So it's not really that much of a challenge. And it's so finely integrated with accounting that I really like doing it that way.
Hey, folks, people often talk about automating and outsourcing your land flipping business, but what does that really mean? Generic solutions leave it to you to figure out how to set up and maintain the automations. I've been running my land business on LandSpeed for over 3 years because it's a total solution and allows me to focus on being a great land investor. LandSpeed was built specifically for land investing by a land investor. And with many of the most successful people in the business using it for years, it's evolved into one of the most feature-rich solutions on the market. Some of the key benefits I get are being able to create and manage mail campaigns and neighbor letters. I'm able to automate tasks amongst my team, create contracts and deeds, and email, text, or mail them within a few clicks. I can automatically capture sales leads from any lead source, including Facebook Messenger. Then it automatically pushes those leads into my sales funnel so that I can manually follow up, but they also go into my automated drip campaign. And since LandSpeed's a total cloud-based solution, I can run my business from anywhere in the world with a phone, laptop, or tablet. So if you want to turn your hobby into a professional, scalable business, just go to landspeedtech.com/Dave to receive a $150 discount today.
All right, we
Okay.
talked about LLCs. Probably don't need to go too far into that. Data source. Talk to me about data sources, Dave. Dave and data sources.
Well, we like data tree. I've used CoreLogic and I've used uh,
Agent Pro.
Agent Pro. Agent Pro is Agent Pro. They've recently redone it. It looks like it's a good. They're all good systems. It's just a matter, and they're getting their data from the same place, and they're for the most part fairly cost competitive. But I really like the interface with Data Tree. It's my favorite one, and so I think they have a package that starts at $50 a month. Of course, it's the monthly fee that you're paying for your data source, at least the way Data Tree is priced. You're prepaying either data or documents, so you're essentially paying for credit on the account. And so if I'm paying $100 a month, I'm probably paying about 10 cents a record for my data. So I get 1,000 records for that. So it's not really a subscription plus your data. And if you buy more than 1,000 records, it's just 10 cents a piece. So the way to get your per record cost down is to say, all right, let's go 250 because I know I'm going to be pulling at least 2,500 to 3,000 records, and now I can probably get my negotiate 7 cents down to maybe 5 cents a record, and then you also get some breaks on your data, like if you need to pull deeds or pull different documents for the county, for those that are available. They're not always all available. It's up to the county if their stuff's available online to pull from Data Tree. So, but also with Data Tree, I use it also for when a deal comes in. The first thing I do is look at it on Data Tree, and I can see the outline of the property, double check the ownership, several things that I can look at it, look for access and other attributes and things like that. It's a great quick look to validate if I even want to spend any time looking at that property.
Absolutely. So I think that what you said, you explained that really well, and that's really important. So that if you do a monthly subscription with Data Tree, you're not paying a subscription and then paying for a per record cost. As you use the records, it's basically creating a minimum. It says, so at 10 cents a record, if you're doing $100, that means that includes 1,000 records.
Yeah.
If you only pull 500 records, well, you're still paying $100. And so that's in the industry, they call that breakage, where they get to make the extra money anyway. So if you're going to do the $100, you want to make sure you're pulling 1,000 records per month.
Or maybe you pulled 500 records and then you pulled $50 worth of documents.
If you
same
need to.
thing.
Yeah. Do you have a phone system that you pay for, Dave?
Yes. I actually I like Dialpad. I've been on a phone.com for a while, but Dialpad really nicely integrates with our LandSpeed ecosystem with our sales portion, HubSpot. And so I am in process of switching over to Dialpad. I actually used it with another company years ago and really enjoyed it. So I've been meaning to do it for a while. It's just one of those things where it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So it's just kind of an improvement. So I'm going to Dialpad. I've heard also great things about Ring Central. Google Voice is not bad at all, and they have a paid version. So there's some really good ones out there. But what's that?
For people who are just starting out, I strongly recommend Google Voice. So right now, pretty much every time you create a new account, in a new Gmail account, you get a Google Voice with it. You only need two. You have one for when you're buying properties and one for when you're selling properties, and you can set them up differently. So when you're buying properties, you actually don't want to answer those calls because a lot of them are going to be angry people. So you probably want to just let everything go to voicemail and decide who you're going to call back. So you can set that up with Google Voice. So everything goes directly to voicemail. But on the side, you certainly don't want to do that. If somebody's calling you up to say, I want to buy a property, you want that call coming through. So you have a different number on the sales side, and they all just come straight through to your phone. So I think it's a fantastic service, and it's free. You know, when you're starting out, free is good.
Yeah, absolutely. But great point. We left one thing off this list, which is optional. And of course, we're just covering the fundamental foundational stuff. But since we're talking about phone, and we talk about, getting into steady state, and then the next one, I guess, beyond steady state would be scaling. And you might hire a call center like a Pat Live and something like that. I won't throw out numbers because it's typically charged per minute. And you want to make sure that you're really, really good on your training and your scripts, and very specific about how you teach them, because your costs can skyrocket with those types of services. Okay, so go ahead. Loom.
Dave?
Loom is, you already talked about Loom.
Did I?
Yeah. Well, look, it rests in your browser. It's a Chrome extension. There's also a desktop version. And initially it's free. There's a few features that you'll want later on. Maybe I use it for $10 a month. I use this tool. It's probably one of the most highly used tools in my business. Especially once you hire a VA, you're going to make all your video instructions, how to do this and how to do that, making screen recordings. But I mean, I even use it for communicating with customers. For example, you can embed it in Gmail, and let's just say you're going back and forth with a customer, but it's a really nice way to personalize your emails. Hey, Joe, you just asked me questions about X, Y, and Z property. I thought this would be a little more personal and put a face to the name. Let me explain it to you. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, hit me back if you've got any more questions. Be happy to get on the phone with you. So I use them for sales calls as well. And I've even communicated with sellers with this as well. It's just a way to personalize things. Yeah, I use it like crazy. It's probably the best bang for buck of any tool I have.
Totally agree. Love it. All right, let's get on to operational costs. VAs, do you need them?
Well, I think every person when they're starting should do everything themselves for the first handful of deals, because how do you teach a VA until you've mastered the process? And so, do a few deals. Now, there might be some stuff when you're starting out because of lack of time that you outsource. For example, like the land speed due diligence. I think that takes a lot of stress off of people. You still need to understand how to review it and whatnot. But that can be very time consuming. And if you're starting this out as a side hustle and you just don't have the time to call the counties and get all that stuff, and you need the deals to move along, then I might hire a VA for that. And really, that's not really hiring a VA, that's hiring a service who is using VAs, like, because Landspeed's got trained VAs doing that. You also might, depending on what you're doing when you download your data, you don't necessarily need to learn how to format a spreadsheet. So, you could send those downloaded lists that have, 200 columns on them, and you only need to use 12. You could send those to a VA and have them spend that time while you're at work. And then when you get home, they're ready, and you can start pricing your lists and get them ready to mail. So, but everything else I would do yourself for 5 to 10 deals, and then start outsourcing.
All right, so just a very small correction. So the land speed due diligence service, maybe this is semantics. They're not VAs, they're actually title abstractors, trained title abstractors that are doing it. If there was one thing I would recommend outsourcing, even from the beginning, it might be that due diligence. Can you call the county and get information? Absolutely, of course you can. But there are some things that are worth leaving to professionals. Things like chain of title analysis is one of them. Obviously, if it's a simple deal, maybe it's very straightforward. You know, you don't have to worry about it. It's cheap. You don't worry about it. But if there's anything complicated in it, if there was a foreclosure, if it needed to have a probate, there could be a variety of things that could be clouding the title right now. And in order to understand what it is, you have to be able to access the legal documents. You have to know how to read the legal documents, and you have to know how to go back in time and how far to go back in time in order to ensure that there is a clean chain of title. That is a specialized skill set. And that's why we don't just use VAs, we use title abstractors, because title abstractors are to the title industry what paralegals are to the legal industry. They are experts in what they do.
Yeah, exactly. And then the only caveat to that would be, if you're buying a property above a certain price point, then just use the title company. So,
yeah. Absolutely. All right, data. So if you have bought a subscription to a data service like DataTree, you may get 1,000 records every month as part of that. But when you're first starting out, you may not want that subscription. So in that case, you may have to pay for the data. You could potentially get it from the county. I think that's always fraught with a little bit of risk because some counties will give you the data, some counties won't, some counties will charge you a little, some counties will charge you a lot. And invariably, they're going to give it to you in some format that's not exactly what you need, with not all of the information that you require, because surprise, surprise, the IT departments at the county are there to serve their mission, not ours.
yeah.
So, if you want what you want, and you want certain pieces of information, you want to get it across the list, and you want to be able to just pull the information for the records that match your strategy, it is definitely worth getting it from a data source like DataTree.
And it's the time that you will save when you figure out how much time you spend to get it from the county. You're making $5 an hour. So just get the data source, even if you start out with the $50 a month subscription, and then just pay extra for the data that you buy. That's fine.
So that if you don't want to get the subscription, that's fine. You can always just order lists from various list providers. You can actually order lists directly through LandSpeed, and it's $60 per list plus 8 cents a record. By the way, I think that's about to go down. Just a little foreshadowing there. So it's going to get a little cheaper. But the point is, you just say what the criteria is, what you're looking for, and then my team will go and we'll pull the list for you. So you're only getting the records that you want. It's already scrubbed. It's already comes exactly formatted exactly as it needs to work for LandSpeed. If you want to use it with something other than LandSpeed, it's the same thing. It's the fields you need in order to be able to support all of your mailing tasks and what you want to do. So it just saves you oodles and oodles of time, which is more expensive than money. So
Yes.
One way or the other, you're going to need data, and eventually you're going to go into a county where the county is not going to suffice for you, so you're going to have to pay for it. So this was a simple assumption here: 1,000 records, 10 cents a record would give you about $100 a month. But it depends how you do it. By the way, one more shameless plug for the LandSpeed services: it's not a subscription. So if you need a list, you pay for a list. If you don't need a list, you don't pay for a list. So you only pay for what you need when you need it.
Very good. So then we get into mailing costs, and based on the LandSpeed discount, we're looking at, if kind of a minimum startup mailer should be $600. I don't recommend anything less than that, and that's going to cost you about $324
Per month, right?
per month. Provided you mail every month, and you should. The key to this business is consistency, mailing and marketing. And then when you're in steady state, get up to about 1,500 mailers a month, and that's going to cost you about $810. So, and certainly as you scale up, it'll go up from there. But this is the kind of the two steps. You get a few deals under your belt and say, yeah, man, that was good. Let's increase our number of mailers. I've got my systems down now. I think I can handle the extra deal flow, the extra phone calls. Let's go from 600 up to 1,500. and go from there.
Is it just me, or is it getting harder and harder to count on a job for our financial security? Who would have ever believed that we would go from the lowest unemployment in 50 years to 40 million people unemployed? Whether you have a great job and want to create a second income, or you're recently unemployed, you need to check out land.mba, your one-stop shop for land investors. Investing in vacant land is a proven business model that can help you build a reliable and scalable second income. Imagine a business where you love what you do. There's no limit on how much money you can make. You can operate your business from anywhere in the world with an internet connection. And best of all, you can never be fired or downsized. If this sounds good to you, Land.MBA provides everything you need to get your business up and running and delivering income quickly. You get education, an end-to-end video course and optional coaching to help you get started faster and turn your energy into income. You get tools so you can automate and outsource the busy work and stay super organized. You get access to a thriving community of like-minded investors, which is a powerful way to share best practices and develop potential partnerships for growing your business. And finally, you get access to deal financing, so you never have to pass on a great investment opportunity due to limited funds. Our team has over a decade of real estate investing experience and has the knowledge and experience you need to help navigate any investing scenario. And with Land.MBA, we hold nothing back. Because there are no upsells, you get access to all of our combined knowledge right out of the gate. So don't wait to provide your family with financial freedom. Sign up today for Land.MBA's Soup to Nuts Land Investing video course. Just go to courses.land.mba and use coupon code FREEDOM to get 25% off. That's courses.land.mba and coupon code FREEDOM. And let us help you say goodbye to your job and hello to financial freedom.
All right, so those are your operational costs. Let's move on to sales and marketing. So when you're first starting out, certainly when I was starting out a long, long time ago, obviously I have gray hair, Craigslist was just a unbelievably good channel to market land on, and it was free. So I did an awful lot through Craigslist. I sold so many properties through Craigslist. Then Facebook Marketplace came on the scene. And for some reason, Craigslist decided they wanted to make themselves be a really unattractive channel. And so they just made it harder and harder, and they took a lot of the value that they were creating and took it away. So I know people, so there are people out there still selling on Craigslist. I'm not saying it's dead, but it's certainly not what it used to be. But free was good. Facebook marketing is free. I'm starting to hear people who have had great success on Facebook marketing are struggling quite a bit with that one now too. That is the thing about marketing channels. They are always changing. What works today won't necessarily work tomorrow. You have to stay on top of it. You got to have multiple channels. You got to know, which ones are good in which situation. So maybe you can figure out when you're first starting out how to use some of these free channels, move some properties. Eventually, though, when you start buying and selling multiple properties every month, you're going to want to have a more reliable channel to market your properties. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Dave, so you can talk a little bit about those channels.
Sure. So you covered Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. I have actually abandoned Craigslist, but I do a lot of marketing on Facebook Marketplace, and they did change their algorithms and making it a little bit more difficult because they're trying to push you to paid ads. And that's another conversation, but that's going to become more prevalent is paid Facebook ads. But really when you're just starting out, Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. Marketplace is going to bring you a lot of leads, and Craigslist does bring leads depending on the property type, property price point, and where you're marketing. So you're going to start there for free until you sell a few deals. And now once you've got some confidence that, okay, I'm getting steady deal flow, I'm mailing regularly, I'm getting some deals, I've been able to sell them on these free platforms, I feel confident to upgrade to some subscriptions. Now on the list here, we've got land.com first, but then we have land flip. I'm going to start with land flip because it's a very good bang for the buck. And that's typically where I steer my students to start with is landflip.com. They've got a $99 package per month and a $150 package. You'll have to go in and look at the differences. I mean, they do have some different boosts and whatnot where if you're on the $150 package, you're going to show up in the searches more often. And then they also have stuff that you can individually do boosts on your properties for, a few dollars, a couple dollars. They have ones like $2 a day and $4 a day. So you can boost those properties up. So I like that one. And then once you really get going, nothing really compares to the web presence of land.com. They're owned by CoStar. Under the land.com umbrella, you have Land Watch, Land and Farm, and Lands of America. And you have a little bit of different buyer pool for each site. They do have a Land Watch only, and I haven't used that one in a while, so I'm kind of guessing at about the 250 to 300 per month mark. And I think that gets you 10 ad slots. Now, if you're not getting any deals, that's a lot of money. But if you've got steady deal flow, that really should be a no-brainer to get those leads out there and get your properties sold quickly. So we just kind of put an average of, we put $300 in there to start. Now, if you go to like a land.com signature, which is going to get you maximum SEO, showing up at the top, maximum leads on all three sites, that's going to be around $600 a month for 10 slots. And that goes up. Okay, now you want to go to 30 slots on the signature. That gets up $1,100-$1,200 a month. So it's pricey, but if you're doing that many deals steadily, you can easily justify it. And look, with the margins we're making on land deals, it's really infinitesimal. It's just that as your business grows, it's hard to swallow taking on that overhead if you don't know your business is going to be consistent. So that's just something you'll make those decisions as your business starts to grow. So look, we're looking at a rough total of, a beginning investor with a few services of roughly $750 to established and running of about $2,100. So that's the basic costs of operating a land flipping business.
Just interject for a second, Dave, because I realized we forgot one line item.
What did we forget?
Is website.
Oh yeah, that's kind of a big one.
So again, just like LLCs, when you're first starting out, you don't need a website. It's good to have. You'll get there, but you shouldn't wait for one to start working your business. Like, get the mail out, buy some properties, get them up on ads on Facebook Marketplace, or wherever you're going to go. You can do this without. In the beginning, a lot of the purpose of a website is more just around credibility than it is around actually moving product. But as you grow in your business, it becomes more and more important. So just talk for a moment about website cost, Dave.
Well, it's been a while actually since I've set one up. I'm glad you mentioned that because I forgot. But I think a lot of people like to do it themselves, and if that's your forte, great. You can set up something on Wix or even WordPress for a couple $100 if you want. But what's your time worth? You could probably outsource it to a VA in India. I don't recommend the Philippines for websites, for a couple $100. But if you really want it done right and don't want to have to do it again later, go to Queen City Web Design. There's a plug for you, Kyle. He's got a great layout and theme specifically designed for land investors. Kyle's a land investor himself. And I don't know what he's charging for setting up a website these days. Do you, Howard?
I think they're still finalizing it because we are about to launch something quite interesting with deep integration to land speed. But um, so I think I'm gonna hold back on there. I know historically they have been a little different in their pricing, where it was sort of they would design the website for you and build the website for you. It was kind of a one-time charge, and then it's your website. I mean, you could pay them for some hosting. I think they may be going more to a SaaS model now, but I'm not exactly sure. I have to talk to them. But in either case, it's not going to be anything overwhelming. A lot of people, when they're first starting out, will also start with Investor Carrot, which I think is around 50 or 60 bucks a month as well. I don't necessarily recommend Carrot. It's not that it's bad. It's, they have a good product, but they basically had built an intuitive front end to WordPress. But the way they've done it, it's really hard to integrate it with anything else. So it's kind of it ends up being a bit of a standalone website.
I don't think they do. Do they? I mean, at least this used to be. They may have changed. Do they allow an interface for a payment system?
I don't know.
Yeah, they didn't before, but because it was more geared towards houses and stuff that you're not necessarily taking payments online for.
Yeah, but let's call it let's call it anywhere from $40 to $80 probably on websites. So it's not going to be a huge amount. We'll have Kyle on a podcast here shortly once we launch, and he'll give us all the inside scoop on what they're doing over at Queen City. But it's not going to skew these numbers that we have all that much. So we've got, even in the way we've got it currently at $756 starting out and $2,118 a month once you hit steady state. So let me ask you, Dave, if your monthly running cost when you're first starting out is $756 per month, how many deals do you need per month to justify that and make money at the same time?
One.
And once you hit steady state and now you're rocking and rolling in this business, and now you've got a monthly cost, let's call it of 2,000, we'll call it 2,120 just for nice even numbers. How many deals a month do you need to justify that cost and make money?
It depends on the price point you're playing, but even pretty cheap properties, if you're turning, one deal a month steady would still, pay that overhead. But, I mean, let's say two deals and you're paying that overhead and making money.
When I was first starting out, I was buying properties in one particular county. I was probably paying about $800 per property and selling them for $3,500 all day long. That's one property. It takes one property, one sale a month.
Yeah, just to pay your overhead, plus make some money.
That is insane.
Yeah.
This business.
Yeah, and really, and so it's just those kind of first maybe 60, 90 days where, and like we talked about earlier, some of those things we talked about, maybe you scale it down when you're very, very first starting, maybe you just have the data and the mailing cost, and that's it. The rest you do yourself. So you're in it, $425. And you run that for 2-3 months, and then you start getting some deals, and now you're off to the races.
Exactly. So Dave, I think that's it. I think we've covered the big pieces here. Hopefully that was informative to everybody of what it really takes to start out in this business. It's not a lot. So I would say that if you're serious and you really are ready to think about any kind of an additional revenue stream or a side gig, I would not be holding back. I mean, this is not a huge amount of money. This is not a huge amount of risk, but the rewards are pretty tremendous. And the best way to get going is action, action, action. It is best if you do action with a little bit of guidance so that you're actually putting that action into a place that's, hopefully will yield very good results. And for that, I would strongly recommend some level of education, whether it's a video course or coaching or whatever it is. We certainly have various tools that we can offer you over at land.mba. That would be URL, land.mba. But wherever you get it from, get a little bit of education. This is low entry point. with huge, huge rewards. So feel good about it. Take steps. If you have any questions, you can reach out to Dave or I. And good luck to you. I think, Dave, that's it. Do we have anything else?
Adios. Have a good day. Enjoy the weather.
See you next time.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, had a bit of fun, and walked away with some actionable insights that you can apply to your business. Dave and I have got some great content and interviews planned, so don't forget to rate and review, and of course subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. If we mention any interesting links or tools, you'll find them in the show notes. To learn more about Land.MBA, visit our website at, wait for it, Land.MBA. See you next time on the Land.MBA podcast.